Hey, Olivia, how's it going?
Hanging in there, Mr. Basil. I tell you what,
I
some days are better than others.
I tell
Today
you
was a
what,
good day. We went
was it a good
strawberry
day?
picking.
Oh, strawberry at the farm.
Yeah, right down
Pick
from
your
your
own.
house. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was a good day. It was a really good day. And then it was really cool when I was making Robbie's supper and he was eating his strawberries. And I said, "What do you think about eating strawberries? You've picked yourself." And he kind of made this, you know, oh, that's
Oh
so cool
yeah,
face.
it
So today
is
was a good day.
right. Like I
Today was
go
a
the
good day.
strawberry picking's always fun, and was super gorgeous
Oh, it was beautiful
out
today.
today too. Yeah, so.
Absolutely.
So anyway, we are still in the coronavirus pandemic, but we're making the most of it. And I think every time we record a new podcast, it seems like there's new information. I think we found out that we are not going back to school for the rest of the year. So now we got to figure out what that's going to look like and all that. But I did think that there were still some topics we could talk about. Let me back up. We know that the fall is going to look different than before the coronavirus.
For
And
sure.
we're going to have to make adjustments, and there's going to be plenty of material for podcasts for that. But I think there are still some things we can talk about um, that that apply to regular classroom setting versus social distancing classroom setting or whatever it's going to be. So today's topic is, drum roll please, CYA. Cover your arses. Cover cover your bases. Uh
your your
take
basses.
it, take care of what you need to take care of to make sure that something doesn't come back and bite you in the hiney, and that you have a when someone challenges a decision you made, that you have a leg to stand on, that you have a paper trail.
Yeah, I think it probably is going to sound a little petty right off the bat because I know we're going to talk about it for a little while. But I tell you, there's no better feeling when somebody tells you, I didn't know about such and such. And you say, oh, you didn't. Well, here's the email that you read. Here's the remind text that you got. Here's the syllabus where it handed out 2 months ago. Here's my website that you can access. Like, there's no better feeling than being able to just prove all of the ways that you CY'd your A. Oh, such a great feeling.
Mic drop. Am I? But
Yes.
don't you ever feel? I don't know. This is where we're different. Don't you ever feel bad? Don't you feel bad that you just like embarrassed that parent?
Nah, nah, fam.
No.
No. And I'll do it in the nicest way possible. My mom always
Yeah,
taught me
right, right.
when you're gonna speak to the manager, you have to talk in a low voice and you have to smile and you have to use really stern facial expressions. So it's like talking to the manager at the restaurant. You're not gonna scream and you're not gonna yell. You're gonna say thank you so much for your email, Mrs. Smith. But I just want to remind you that here's the syllabus and here's the website for your enjoyment. Here's the email. Here's the remind. Here's all of the ways we communicated this information to you. Now,
Right, right,
suck it.
right. But you say that in your head. That's the
Oh, for sure. Oh,
inside
yeah,
voice.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, you press mute before that last one, right? So let me give an example of a situation where you did not CYA. Right? So there's a band concert, and of course the band concert is part of the grade. And so you announce the concert, and you have the concert, but one of the kids doesn't come to the concert, so they get a zero for participating in that performance. Then the report card comes out, because that, first of all, that's going to be a lot of the grade, right? That's going to be performance grade is a big part. And then report card comes out and mama goes nuts and she wants a meeting with the principal. Well, that could go one of two ways. One is CYA when you say I feel bad. I understand where you're coming from, but We did send this out 2 months ago. We had the students have to take it home and get it signed. It was on our website. It was on the syllabus. It's in the band handbook. What time the concert was, what time they had to be there, how long it was going to take, what they had to wear, and you spelled out everything. Now, the difference between having that and not having that will either put you in or take you out of the hot seat. If you didn't have that, if you didn't send the information home, what's your principal going to say in that meeting? What's going to happen is the principal's going to say, "Thank you very much, ma'am, for bringing this to my attention." And when they leave, the door closes. Now there's a whole other conversation, and it's not going to be a pretty one.
Right. And then you're going
But
to have to go back and you're going to have to fix your grade and you're going to have to take care of every little Charlie and Susie that didn't come to the concert or showed up late or et cetera, et cetera. So you want to
right.
make sure that you cover all of your arses.
So a little bit of extra work on the front side is going to avoid a ton of headaches on the back side. And then and when I taught middle school, I would run into this. You would give it to the kids, a hard copy. You give it to the kids, take it home and get it signed, and the parent would say, "Well, I haven't seen this. I didn't sign it because they didn't give it to me."
Right.
Well,
Because it's crumpled
now,
up in the bottom of their book bag.
right, right. But at least you sent it home. So now who's in the hot seat? It's the student. The student's in the hot seat. And then so what I did to try to avoid that was just cover all your bases, hit all your angles. If I hand out a hard copy, I also send an email out to all the parents and attach that hard copy and say, "Hey, parents, we passed this out today. Ask your kids for it. Here's the concert information. Um, if they lost it, you can easily print this one out and send it in, or scan it and sign it and send it back, or just shoot me an email that says right," so that that they know. One of the things um, that CYA covers is its communication.
Right.
That's really what it is. It's communication.
And I
People
think,
can't read your
especially, sorry, go ahead.
people can't. That's okay. All I was going to say was people can't read your mind, so you got to write stuff down and you got to send stuff out. That's what I was going to say.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think as a young teacher, especially, I was under some type of impression that over communication was a bad thing. And now,
Yeah.
10 plus years in, I don't think there is such a thing as over communication because
Mm-mm.
there are so many platforms now that we can use. Remind is a great tool where you can send out text messages. That's super easy, that you can do from your phone, an iPad, computer, website. And that goes straight to the parents and the kids' phone. You can have kids and parents sign up for that service. So Remind is great. You can use social media. I know that's one thing that I would like to get better at in the near future is using, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And because I mean, let's be honest, that's what everybody's scrolling on their phone looking at. And if the reminder for the
Sure.
concert comes through on your news feed, you're going to say, "Oh, hey, Susie, when's that concert?" So social media platforms, and you got email, you got paper, you got websites, Google Classroom, any type of Canva, Canvas programs. I know there's a ton of things out there that you can use to communicate. So, like I said, I just over communication is not a thing. You cannot over communicate because then when you do get in that hot seat, you can say, "But I blah X, Y, and Z," and it's a lot of work up front. But I think once you get into the habit of, okay, I've got a concert. Did I send home my paper? Did I send home my syllabus? Is it on my website? Like you start checking off those things and then it just becomes second nature down the road.
Yeah, and I think that you maybe think if I'm over communicating, I'm being annoying. That's what I don't want to keep beating the dead horse. But if you put out a survey to the parents and asked, what's the best way for me to communicate with you? What is your go-to communication tool? You're going to get every answer you can think of, all those things you just listed. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
get, I'm a texter, send it to my phone. I don't do that. I'm an email. You got to send it to my email.
I don't have
The
email. Send me
reminder.
home a piece of paper. Right.
Right. I want, you have those mamas and dads go like, I want it in my hand. And, so you do the hard copy. Um, and now, the Connect Ed, um, is a good one that principals use when they call. And it's usually like a recorded message. But they call to the home phone. Now, whether that goes to a landline or the parent's cell phone or something like that, but you're hitting them at all the different angles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, eh, Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just gonna say, and with all those different platforms, like you said, if you did a survey, you're gonna get a ton of answers, and um, there's probably a correlation in the parents that get all of the different forms of communication probably don't feel like you're being over communicative, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
don't be afraid to hit all those platforms and really explore what works best for you. But I would definitely find an electronic as well as a tangible way to communicate with kids and parents.
Right. And I would rather apologize to a parent for if they're like, you're inundating me with all these texts and everything. I'd rather apologize for that than have to apologize for I'm sorry your child missed the concert because the information wasn't sent home.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So and it's not just being in the hot seat. I just threw down a list of things. If you don't CYA, right? Well, the first thing is it just creates friction with your parents and your principal. Um, your credibility as a director um, comes into question.
Yeah, and I think that's super important to touch on, because if you start a pattern of not communicating clearly, then that's just going to have a bunch of negative effects on the relationships between you and your students and you and your parents, as well as you and your administration. It's going to have an effect on, whether the kids want to come back to band or not. If they're not feeling
Yeah.
like they're being communicated with, they're not feeling like their time and efforts are being respected, then it may affect your retention as well as your attrition rate for grade to grade, whether the kids are sticking with it, because the kids may be frustrated or their parents might be frustrated. You never know what the kids are hearing from parents at home, so those are things to think about when you're working on those lines of communication. Is what else will this affect besides Susie not coming to the concert?
Right. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's something you may not notice right away, but losing numbers, and that hurts you, for a while. If you're in middle school, that could hurt you for 2 or 3 years. If you're a high school teacher, that could hurt you for 3 or 4 years before you recover from that. Um, and I hear this from parents. They love it when you're organized. Um, a lot of the parents have more than one child and their children are in X number of activities and they've got a calendar on the fridge that's color coded and staying organized and not pulling things out at the last minute. People are going to appreciate. And when they get frustrated, the easiest way for them to fix that frustration is just to say, well, we're not going to do that activity anymore.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think, organization is vital when it comes to the overall picture. So I think I like to plan as far in advance as we possibly can within reason.
Yeah.
Um, you
Well,
know,
if it's too far in advance, and then you don't say anything, you send it out 6 months ahead of time, and then you don't send out anything,
reminders, right.
then everyone's gonna forget about it, and you're like, "But I sent it out," and that's not how that works.
Exactly. And like, for us, I typically, this time of year and more into May, well, I guess today is May. May started yesterday. That is crazy.
It's gonna be May.
Uh, um, but this time of year, we'll start looking at, we'll start with the big stuff. When are our concerts going to be, and then from there we go into rehearsals. And so stay organized, and like I said, plan as far in advance as you can within reason. And then I would say I like to over plan, and then you can always say, "Oh, we don't need this rehearsal," or "We can take this weekend off." And then the parents and the kids, it's kind of a mental game. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're ahead. We don't need that rehearsal," or "Oh well, now we have a
Right.
weekend off," instead of giving them the weekend off and then you're behind,
You
learning your
spring something
closer
up.
or whatever it is, right? And you say, "Oh, we need to have rehearsal this weekend."
It
Yeah,
is
parents really don't like that.
it is much easier to take something off the band calendar
Right.
at the last minute than it is to put something on.
Right. And then the last thing I was going to say about that is that will kind of help you, you start with the big stuff like concerts and rehearsals, and that will help you plan, the other stuff to be organized, the lessons and the pieces and the pacing and all that good stuff. And the one last thing that I kind of want to mention with the being organized part is I would say you got to give parents at least 2 weeks notice, if not closer to a month notice, and
Right.
some of them like at more than 6 to 8 weeks notice, when you're going to do something, just because like Mr. Basil said, they have other kids, they're in other activities, they have jobs, they go to church, things of that you have to be sensitive to when you're planning things.
And here's an example of something that's just practical. And I knew about it as a teacher, but when I had my own children and they were in band, it really hit home. Um, you need to send a reminder a week. Let's say it's a concert. You need to send another reminder a week before the weekend. All right. So if your concert's next week, send another reminder home the week before and give parents that weekend to go find those black dress pants that they've been procrastinating on. You don't want to spring the concert attire on them 2 days before on a Tuesday when the concert's on Thursday. They can't get to the Walmart on Wednesday. If you do it and so that they have over the weekend, that helps a lot because let's people are going to wait till the last minute to do stuff. I there was a marketing guy that I was talking to. He was just a dad, and we were kind of talking about life or whatever, and he mentioned that um in his business they call it drip marketing, where you don't just send something home 6 months ahead of time and that's it, like we talked about before. Um, it's like a drippy faucet. So you send something home, you announce it 6 months ahead of time, but then you announce it again 2 months, then 1 month, then 2 weeks, then 1 week, then like the day before. So it's like this drip, 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 and the closer you get to the event, the more notifications or whatever the parents are getting on their phone or what have you, um, so that you know that they're ready for the event. And I thought that was I just thought that was really good for band. Like, oh, drip marketing. Okay, I get it. It works with a fundraiser. It works with your concerts, your field trips, anything that you do outside of the school day, even um, grading requirements. We
Ooh,
send
yeah.
stuff out like the syllabus the first day. Um, Playing quizzes are this percent of your grade, and here's the rules. With yes, you can make up um the playing quiz, and you get all of those things in writing too. That's the I think we talked about concerts a lot.
Yeah,
Concerts,
and events in general. So
and then
yeah.
and then the other big one is grades.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So get all of that information out ahead of time. Have parents sign it. Oh, I think a wire came out. Can you hear me, Miss Bell?
I can. You're good. You
Oh,
sound good.
fantastic. I thought we were having technical difficulties. My apologies.
No, grades, and grades. Oh, so tedious. Um, but yeah, again, you can use all of those platforms, your syllabus, your website, your Google Classroom, email your parents, we do like a handbook at the beginning of the semester that talks about procedures and policies and all this stuff. And that's a lot of pages for a lot of kids. So we put it on the website, we put it in the
Yep.
Google
Post it.
Classroom, we
Yep.
post it, we make sure the kids know how to get to it. And then we send home just one sheet of paper that
And you
says,
and
hey,
I'm sorry, you refer to it. If you
right,
put out a band handbook and never talk about it, it gets forgotten. Sorry,
right.
go ahead. You
No,
refer to it often.
absolutely. And that's, we just send home the one sheet of paper that says, hey, did you go to the website and read this? But also CY and your A on the flip side of that, we also let the kids know if anybody needs a printed copy because they don't have access to a computer or the internet, that we're happy to provide it. But doing things like that, that will cover your grades, your attendance policies, um, you know, we do a big document of go ahead and schedule all your playing tests that so parents will know what their kids are supposed to be working on throughout the semester. There's all kinds of things that you can put in something like that at the beginning of the semester that will cover you throughout, and then you can refer back to it if you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the main reason we're talking about it, I learned a lot about this from being in the hot seat, you know. From, oh, it really is a big deal that parents know this far in advance about la 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 and blah blah blah. And like I said before, people can't read your mind. You know that the concert's in 2 weeks, but that's not in the front of everyone's brain. So you got to get it in writing. You got to send it out. Um, and taking care of these things, all the paperwork and the communication. And I think what it all really boils down to is it lets you not have to worry about that stuff so that you can spend more time worrying about and thinking about the music, the most important part. And all because it's just all of these other things get in the way of rehearsal and thinking about music and your score study and making yourself prepared for rehearsal. Take care of all of this stuff ahead of time, and then when it's time for rehearsal, you can put all of your energy into the most important thing, the music.
You said that beautifully, Mr. Basil, because I
Oh,
know,
thank you.
especially in those early years of teaching, and even now, you get so bogged down with the grade books and the PDPs and the emails and the flyers and the posters and the plan. Like, it's so easy to get, just stressed out and discouraged because there's so much to do that's not teaching. But
Right.
if get in a good routine, get established some good habits of, okay, we got a concert, so I'm going to X, Y, and Z. Okay, it's grade book time, so I'm going to X, Y, and Z. It's the beginning of the semester, so I'm going to send out my syllabus and do this. Once you form those habits, then, like Mr. Basil said, you'll be able to spend the time. You'll be able to spend more time and energy on, the reason we got into this. None of us got into this because we wanted to know how to use Power School and put comments, satisfactory comments on every Susie
Right.
and Johnny.
And
That's not
and
why we're here.
what's that commercial? Is running your business getting in the way of running your business? I mean, that's a great way to put it.
All day, every day. Yep.
So absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you for the compliment about me being beautiful earlier. I was really worried. I need a haircut. I
I
think it's
was
the new
gonna
thing with
say.
the.
I
Oh God,
was gonna say
I
earlier
it's
that it's
I
looking a little long on the top,
it's
Mr.
my
Basil.
it's my Corona due. I need a I don't know. I don't need
Well,
a haircut. I want a haircut.
right.
And I know
Well,
there's more important things, but it'd be nice.
Mr. Spell's doing a good buzz cut. If you
I think I think at this point, all the men either have bald heads or shaggy. It's
Yep.
one or the other because at home there's no, um, there's no in between. There's no
Nope.
clipper number one and fade it, fade it. No, that doesn't fit in. You want a clipper one all over? You want?
Right, absolutely. That's like if you need a buzz cut, you can come on over to the Spell House. Mr. Spell will hook you up.
Oh my
You
god!
can match
So,
Robbie.
oh Lord have mercy. So I'll probably lose like 5 pounds, or I should just go all out and just like I should get like a big old pompadour.
We'll
You
get
know,
you a man bun.
get this big thing like this Adam Lambert thing going on. Maybe can I pull that off? I don't know.
I don't know. You got a
Anyway,
big forehead.
anyway, kids listening, CYA. Say
Yep.
it. CYA. I am going to C my Y to the A.
Amen.
Do that and you will avoid so many problems that your colleagues will tell you about and you're saying to yourself, I'm
Oh.
glad I covered my bases. Absolutely 100%. We are going to cover our bases now by reminding you to
Like and
and
subscribe.
subscribe. Go to the YouTube. The YouTube channel has all of our podcasts. You could it's a video you can watch. It's the uncut, unedited versions. It's fantastic and wonderful.
Raw. It's
Not
raw.
not that a lot of editing goes on here, but anywho, we can need to, one day we'll have a blooper reel. One day, maybe,
I
maybe
like
not.
it.
Maybe this is the blooper reel. Who knows? All right, kids. I forgot to tell you in the beginning of the podcast that you are listening to what is it called?
Teaching band from the
Teaching
beginning.
Band from the beginning. Rule number 1, don't forget the name of your podcast. Miss Bell, thanks for hanging out. People listening, thanks for hanging out. We'll
Take
catch
care.
you on the flip side. Take care. Wear your mask, kids. Why am I calling everyone kids tonight?
I don't know. We out.
All right, we out.
Mic drop.